Joining us now, the ranking member of the Labor Committee, state representative in the 68th District, which represents Watertown, Oakville, and Woodbury. We want to welcome Joe Polleta to the show. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Pastor Will, for having me this morning.
Now, is this the public hearing that's 11 o'clock?
You got it.
In room 2A?
Correct, of the Legislative Office Building.
So tell me, what's this going to be like? I mean, obviously, there's disagreement about you and I have never spoke about this before, so I'm not sure where you stand. I know where I stand. What's going to happen today with this hearing?
Well, first off, let me set the stage here. The Labor Committee has had a number of, quite frankly, bad bills that have come down the pipeline in the last couple of weeks. We, just a week and a half ago, heard the paid FMLA bill, which would offer the most progressive form of the bill in the country, which is 100% wage replacement for up to 12 weeks of paid time if you are qualified under the Department of Labor. So you'd have to go and get approved, and then you would be able to take 12 weeks paid vacation a year by contributing 0.5% of your paycheck. So that's going to be a mandate. So that was number one. Now, today, we're dealing with a bill that perhaps would raise the minimum wage, according to the governor's bill, $125 a year over the next 4 years, which would bring it up to $15 an hour. And quite frankly, the business community is, especially the small business community, is really nervous about this bill.
Well, I'll tell you who's going to hurt, and I know this for a fact because we operate one. It's going to hurt daycare centers.
Absolutely.
Our daycare centers, and most of our folks are, if they're not part-time, they're full-time, but they're lower wage folks, and that's true with all daycare preschools around the state. It's gonna cripple a lot of them.
And also, we're hearing from the McDonald's of the world saying that they are going to go automated, and it's just a matter of time. They're going to buy a kiosk, and the kiosk doesn't necessarily call out sick. The kiosk doesn't have issues, and the kiosk will represent the person that is now actually making that wage, so earning that wage. So we need to keep in mind that these are jobs that are going to be lost in an economy that's lagging far behind the national economy.
Well, what I don't understand, and we're speaking with 68th District State Rep Joe Polleta. Joe, what I don't understand is, I know this for a fact because I just ran the numbers. The median household income in Connecticut is $73,000 a year.
Correct.
$15 an hour doesn't come close to that. So when they talk about, I hear this talk about a livable wage. $15 an hour is not a livable wage.
Absolutely. So what I've heard from the proponents of the bill is that we need to give a raise to these individuals that are working and living paycheck to paycheck. Well, last I checked, an individual that's making $15 an hour is not going to be able to pay rent, is not going to be able to pay heat or oil and electricity and groceries and gas and car insurance on that wage. It is not a livable wage. So if we're talking about a livable wage, then why not talk about $25 an hour or $30 an hour?
That's the question. Where does it stop, Joe? Where does it stop? We're going to start paying $30 an hour? I mean, employers would close up like you think there's an exodus out of Connecticut now. I mean, what can we possibly do here? This is insanity.
So I think you hit the nail on the head there. Employers are already looking elsewhere. And with the prospects of tolls, paid FMLA, $15 an hour minimum wage, on-call shift scheduling, this is another assault on the middle class. And what we're doing now is we're basically telling these business owners, hey, we want you to pay more money to these individuals so that hopefully they'll put the money back into the economy.
Yeah.
But what they're not saying is business owners are saying we're either going to go automated or we're going to raise our prices across the board. And we have many, many examples and individuals who have written letters in opposition to this bill that are saying you passed the bill and we're laying off immediately day one.
See, and the problem for us is they've not yet developed daycare robots. I was in my Stop and Shop locally in Wallingford a few weeks ago for the first time, and I was getting some product at the deli counter, and they said, "Oh, did you see our robot?" And I turn on, and there he is. There's a robot patrolling the aisles looking for spills. Well, we don't have daycare robots yet, so and you can't really increase the prices because parents are already paying a large amount of money for childcare.
Right, and Pastor Will, here's another example, and to put it into perspective, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the theme parks like Lake Compounds and Quasi's of the world, and Quasi's right near my district. The individual employs 400 part-time seasonal employees. Mm-hmm. Now, as well as I do that those employees that are working in the summer are our youth. We want them out of the house. We don't want them, playing Minecraft or on Facebook all day. We want them to be productive members of society. This bill will hurt a business like Quasi Amusement Park. This bill will hurt Lake Compounds. This bill will hurt the Dunkin' Donuts, the Carvels, the McDonald's of the world that are employing these individuals, and some of them are part-time seasonal. They come in, they work a little bit, and then they return to college or to school. We want them to be working, and these employers they're coming out and telling us, listen, we're not going to hire if you pass this bill. So, parents across the state are outraged because they want their children to be working in the summers. And even, quite frankly, municipalities are not going to be able to afford it because they're going to say, hey, look, we're going to have to raise local property taxes to pay for, our youth that are at the day camps and, like you said, the daycares in the summertime that are watching our kids, and $15 an hour, to work at a camp, that's outrageous.
Well, again, to your point, we operated a 10-week summer camp. If we've got to start paying our high school kids that we use as counselors, if we've got to start paying them all $15 an hour, it's going to be a big problem there for us.
Exactly. So I think you're on the same page as me when it comes to this issue.
So what, I asked Gail Lavielle this the other day. Elections have consequences. Obviously, we did not see the result we want. I say we. I've been a lifelong Republican. I can include myself in this we. We didn't see the results we wanted to see in November. What do we have for options now? I mean, I think if the Democrats want to approve tolls, they're going to approve tolls. If the Democrats want to put forward a $15 an hour wage hike, they're going to put. What's the best thing we can do now, Joe, to try to slow this train down?
Well, that's great. So, number one, you saw the local elections, or excuse me, the state elections, but they were more local. The state rep seat down in East Haven, the Senate seat in New Britain. Yeah. I think that was a wake-up call to the governor and to the Democrats, saying, look, you guys won the election. There's no doubt about it. And by the way, no Republican here is screaming foul, protesting on the streets, saying, "Oh my God, not my governor." If anything, we're giving him the chance. Republicans gathered at the mansion a few weeks ago and said, look, we want to work with you, Governor Lamont, help us out. And we're willing to work with the individual. But these special elections, in essence, dealt a minor blow to the Democrats and said, look, hold your horses, stop pushing all these bills and ramming them down our throats. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg here.
Well, how do you respond to my good friend Nancy Wyman, who I do like a lot, who said it was just a blip on the radar?
I mean, look, that's her perspective. I think she also said that, the gentleman in New Britain won because of his name. I mean, I don't know what I'm Italian. Means. I have a funny name. I certainly didn't win on my name.
I mean, if having an Italian name means you're going to run, I'm running for governor next time. I mean, that's it.
Well, that's exactly. I found that kind of amusing. Again, a nice woman, and I have nothing bad to say about her. I think, again, it was the principles. People have realized now that tolls aren't just going at the borders. They're going everywhere. They've realized that the paid FMLA isn't just for 50 employers or more. It's for everyone. It's 1/2% of everyone's paycheck. You, me, and the rest of the state.
Sure.
They're realizing that $15 an hour is going to mean less work for the temp workers, for the part-time seasonal workers, for the youth in our communities. This is what's happening. School regionalization is going to mean, your superintendent might be looking over 7 or 8 towns instead of 1.
Sure.
People are, quite frankly, really concerned about this progressive agenda in Connecticut. And to answer your question about what we can do, write to your legislators. Come up to a public hearing. I think we have 85 people signed up as of 9 a.m. to testify in minimum wage.
How many?
85.
85 already?
It starts at 11 o'clock, wow. So I'm assuming we'll be here until midnight if you'd like to come up yourself.
So you're going to have a very similar scene to the transportation hearing yesterday. It's going to be a packed house, and it's going to go on for a long time.
It's going to be interesting, and, look, I want to just state on the record here, that Republicans in no way are saying absolutely no to the bill. I think what we're doing is trying to make it easier to do business in Connecticut and not make it more difficult. And unfortunately, increasing labor costs tends to eliminate jobs rather than create them.
Well, we've given a half a dozen scenarios right here in 10 minutes. The jobs it's going to cost, the people it's going to hurt. This is almost like a regressive tax. You're going to hurt the people you think you're trying to help because there'll be less of those jobs available. A lot of those employers just won't hire as many people.
Absolutely. My nephew just is turning 16 next month, and he's in high school, and he's excited to work a summer job. And I told him the other day, "Hey, Mike, don't count your
don't count your summer job
right.
before it's hatched."
Right. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. So,
all right, Joe Polleta, thank you for taking time, and good luck in the hearing, and keep fighting the good fight for us. Okay.
Thank you, Pastor Will. Continue your good work. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We'll take some calls. 800-966-9842, 8605-229842.